And
Before
then
I asked, I had an answer in my mind, and I was so sure that most people would say this. It's so obvious, right? And to my surprise, it was like only like out of 35 people, only like a couple of people said that. Hello, and welcome back to Wiser Together. This is your host, Parmeet Kumar, with your co host of the podcast and my brother, Anas Pasha. How are you, bro?
I'm doing great, bro. How are you guys? How's everyone?
I'm good. I'm good. Thank you. Just enjoying the Sunday sunny weather here.
Yes, sir.
Uh, I just want to start by again thanking everyone for being a part of this, joining us, supporting us in all the ways you have been and all the ways you will continue to do so. We're at episode 16 and we couldn't be more delighted and proud of ourselves. So thank you
Absolutely.
for doing that. As we have realized, most things in life, most great things that have happened in our life have started from a conversation. And that is exactly what we're trying to do here. So support it in any way you can. And we hope that it can give you the same benefit and it can come back around to you and help you enhance your life in different ways. So, yeah, thanks again. Let's start today. Me and Anas were having a discussion as to what is the most important thing in life,
The
right?
most important question, yeah.
And yeah, it is one of the most important questions, right? And to my surprise, I felt like the answer I had would be the answer I would get from most people, which I didn't, including you. And as we went along and I got different answers
Mm.
from different people, my answer kind of changed as well, you know? So that shows you the power of conversation, you know, and helps you get that clarity.
Absolutely. But
Yeah.
before we get into that, I want to ask, like, can you explain to everyone what your question structure looked like? Like, because it was a very interesting way that you put the question up.
Okay, let me pull this up. Sorry.
No worries.
So yeah, we just asked our family and friends
Mm-hmm.
uh, that we are doing some research for an upcoming episode, and we just wanted to ask them what the most important thing in life is for them, and they have to answer in one word. It can't be two
One
things, three
word,
things.
yeah,
One word
exactly.
answers only, right?
Yeah.
And
See, that got me thinking as well when I was trying to answer my question as well. I mean that
yeah,
there's a million thing that comes to your mind
exactly.
because those are important to you. But then, yeah, I mean the answer that I stuck to was, I believe, the best answer that I could give as well.
Okay, that's good. So let's start there. Let's start with your answer. I believe your answer was family, was it?
Family and friends.
Family and friends. Okay, so
Yeah.
let's start there. Why is family and friends the most important thing in life for you?
Well, I believe because of the word unconditional love. There is there are only a few things in this world which comes without condition, which comes without any strings attached. And in my life, apart from family, which a lot of people, it might be an obvious answer, but in my life, I was immensely blessed to have such friends as well that just offered their hand, that offered their love, offered their support without any sort of strings attached. To this day, I have friendship which are now older than a decade now, and it's the same love, it's the same unconditional support, it's the same energy. And I still to this day think in this cruel and unfair world, yet at the same time beautiful world, but like in this world, like how can such people exist which are not of my blood? We always listen about this like saying that, which is blood is thicker than water. I feel like in my life, I've had the privilege to know people outside of my blood, people not sharing my blood, my family, whatever genetics, etc., etc., like biological makeup, right? And still they're thicker than water. So yeah, to answer that question, when I was thinking, a lot of things were coming to my mind, but the answer that I chose was family and friends because of this concept of unconditional love.
That's beautiful. That's amazing. And I feel like
How
a lot
about
of
you? You tell me.
Okay, I'll start initial.
Yeah.
First, I want to go over everyone's answers because then I can sort of develop and come to mine and explain how it changed to what it changed to then. Because
Okay,
my
so
answer
it was like you gave an
before
answer
I
like, and
before
then
I asked, I
uh-huh.
had an answer in my mind, and I was so sure that
Hmm.
most people would say this. It's so obvious, right? And to my surprise, it was like only like out of 35 people, only like a couple of people said that. But I
Okay, whoa.
got
Yeah.
a variety of answers, different answers. Some very
Okay, let's
practical. Yeah.
yeah,
Anyway, so
let's go
let's
over them, yeah.
unwrap those. So the most popular answer was family, right? The one you
Yeah.
said, and
Yes.
I feel like it just comes down to how you perceive it. Because the most popular answer was family, and the second was peace,
Mm-hmm.
and then it was relationships and love, which I feel like is sort of family as well. Not necessarily,
Yes.
you could
Yeah.
get love from relationships, love, they all kind of intertwine, right? So it just comes down to how you you think of it. So these were the
But they're definitely in the same neighborhood.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like they
Hmm.
intertwine, right? Your family is family and friends is relationships and the quality of the relationships, and that determines how much love there is in that relationship,
Hmm.
like you mentioned, right? So the family relationships, love. This was like the top answer. The second best was uh, peace, self love,
Hmm.
happiness. We can kind of put them in the same category as well. Uh, and then my answer, which was only
Yeah.
two people said it, I think two or three people said it out of
Okay.
35 people, which was health. Initially, this was
Amazing.
my answer
Amazing.
initially.
Okay. Amazing.
And then what else we got here? And then there was growth, self-acceptance, self-love, stuff like that, right? So
Right. So
let's
you tell us now, like, why health?
Yeah. So I was thinking of it in a very practical way, right?
Hmm.
Which was, let's put the three, four, five things that are most important. Let's list them down first. So obviously, family and relationships is very important. Self
Correct.
growth is very important.
Hmm.
Health is very important. Peace of mind is very important. Right? These things, right? So I decided to put them in a very practical terms, right? Day to day living, right?
Hmm.
Can I survive without family? I think I can. A lot of people do, right? Can you survive without self growth? I think you can. A lot of people are still surviving without self growth. But there's one thing that you can't survive without, which is health. And that is the foundation of everything. What I mean by that is, if you're not healthy, you can't even give to your family. In order to
Correct.
have and in order to maintain those relationships to the highest level, and in order to give them in the most effective and efficient way, adding quality to that relationship, giving them love, right? That would come from you being the best version of yourself, right? And that comes from taking care of yourself. The more you can take care of yourself, the more you can give to other people, your family, the relationships you have, right? And the more you can then invest in your business, your work, your career, right?
Correct.
And then more you can invest in your self growth, right? Self acceptance, those kind of things that you really like to do, right? So if you were to categorize life in three sort of divided in three categories that are most important, it'd be family, relationships, obviously, there's your career, and then there's things that you like to do for yourself, be it going to the gym, uh, adventurous stuff, leisure activities, camping, hiking, whatever you like to do, right? That's something very subjective. Uh, but I feel like that all depends on your health, right? Because if you don't have health, everything else falls apart. But if you don't have family, but you have health and you have a career and you have self growth, you can still sort of survive. If you don't have a career, but you have good relationships and you have self growth and you have health, you can still survive. And if you have a relationship and health and career but no self growth, you can still survive. But without health, you can't really, you know get do any of those things.
It's the same ideology of keeping your glass full, right?
Yeah, sort of. I mean, it could be taken in different ways, but I think if I was to look at it in a very practical way, like in day to day living, right? What's most important is investing in time in my health so that I can do and give time, quality time to those other things, right? If I need to make sure that I sleep well, work out, do those things so that I can, you know, give as much as I can to those other
I
things. So you're
think
right.
I think we're on the same page here because I'll tell you why I chose family and friends. Because of course you know that I like to think practical as well. That is the Stoic way, and
Yeah.
it's what you said makes 100% sense. For I believe we're doing this which came first, the chicken or the egg, sort of a situation.
Yeah.
For me, yeah, for me the why I chose family and friends, and if I were to put it to you in this way, was that these are the people that I, like that I must be healthy for. These are the people that for that I do everything in my life. If I am working hard, um, for whatever reason, I am doing so that I can basically provide for my family, provide for my friends, be there for them. If there's any experiences to be had, to provide those experiences to them, all of those things. So I guess what I'm trying to say is that my family and
Mm,
my friends are my push,
yeah.
right? They are my push when I literally, I mean, it's the fact just to stay healthy is so that I can, like you said, so that I can then provide those same healthy lifestyle tips to my family, to make
Yeah.
sure that they are also healthy as well, to make sure that my friends are healthy as well. When I'm walking the walk myself, when I'm making those frameworks myself, I am basically, it's like tasting the food. It's like testing it out, that particular workout, that particular diet, that particular lifestyle, to do it for them. So
Mm,
these guys are my push. And sometimes, like I personally, I feel like the sort of person that I'm if I'm left to my own devices, I might not have the push to be this healthy, to push, to work this hard, and to do everything that I do, um, from the basic things that we do apart from that. So this push really helps me to go over the bar, to try out
mm,
new things, to just keep on progressing, to just keep on evolving. So I kind of feel like we're in the same neighborhood. Again, it's the chicken and the egg philosophy over here which came first, and I feel like
yeah.
this is what you're trying to say as well. However, at the same time, I believe that I disagree a little with, not, I wouldn't use the word disagree. I would just like to put it in another way when you said that we cannot survive without relationships or family. Humans, like the way that we have evolved, the way that we have progressed, far better and far superior than any other animals on this world, was because we are social animals. Not saying that other animals are not social animals. They are. I mean, they
Social
do
aspect,
perform,
yeah.
yeah, they do perform those certain civic duties, but it is proven, it is proven scientifically as well. Again, I might not have the data or the stats to present it over here, but I took this course.
I actually did some research and I'll expand on it, but I'll let you
That
finish
would
first.
be that would be wonderful.
Yeah.
Basically, during COVID times, I did this course, and I think it was called Pursuit of Happiness. It was from Yale,
Oh,
I believe. It was an
yeah.
online course, and every exercise and everything that we used to do had a social aspect to it. Had a, like a little thing, such as they said that if you're not feeling like a certain mood and you might be feeling a little low, just going on a walk and seeing a stranger and passing a smile to them, and they passing with a smile, same smile back, that might just elevate your mood as well. So a lot of these small things, but the main thing that they talked about, that what improves a person's longevity, their life, was the fact that how many good relationships they had. By good, like the definition was that, like, like how often do they stay in touch, how often did they meet, being there in good or bad or hard times. All of these things really made me realize that having, again, as I said, like having good connections with your family and friends is the most pivotal things. Actually, it is
Mm,
the for me, it is my center of universe. From here, everything branches out. Like I said, I've had the most amazing experiences with my family and friends. um Again, I
That's what it
stay
comes down
healthy.
to.
Yeah, I stay healthy so that I can spend more time with my family and friends, a lot of things. For example, just another, like, a very, like, silly example, like, we see these old uncles, like, like, and when they have their daughters and everything, and you see that, for example, it can be a son as well. Let's not, like, base it on a one gender. And they say to their father, "Oh, stop smoking, or stop eating junk, etc., etc. Wouldn't you want to be here when your grandchildren come, etc., etc." Like, these sort of things that we hear always in our lives, and in the
Yeah.
movies, and in the things, etc., etc. We might just listen to these small, like, nuances. These goes to show that, the push is there to do things not only for yourself, because you have a family, you have people to look after, you have people who care about you, and you have people who are depending on you, and
Mm,
people who want you. So these are the things which really, like, popped into my head when I was giving that answer, that this life is not only mine, this life is also shared by a lot of people who are important to me, and thus those people are the family and friends.
yeah. It's kind of like, I understand now that the most important thing in life is X, being family and relationships. But in order to, achieve that in the best way possible, you need to give time and importance to Y. You do that through Y, which is health, right?
Correct.
X is the most important, but it has to, you can't just invest in that or give it time. You need to go through Y to get to that, which is your health.
Absolutely.
Investing in yourself to then giving to others. So I think that totally makes sense. What you mentioned about we being social animals and the importance of that. So in research for this episode, I came across a study. I think it was done by University of California. I can't remember, but if I can find it, I'll share it with you guys in the description. So they looked at 700 subjects and over a long period of time. So they looked at them and then their offsprings and their offspring. So it was a multi-generational study, right? And they were just trying to pinpoint on one single aspect that affects your longevity, how long you live, right? Your life expectancy, right? And they looked at, is it smoking cigarettes or whatever? Is it drugs? Is it drinking alcohol? Is it not working out? Is it not getting enough sleep? Not eating the right foods? What is that one aspect that shortens your lifespan the most? And what they found out was social exclusion had the most higher impact than any
Wow.
other aspect, be it even if you're like smoking, drinking, not sleeping at time, eating unhealthy. As long as you have healthy, loving relationships uh, around you, be in terms of friends, family, uh, that would really have an impact on how long you live. And that just takes me back to, it's so simple, but it's crazy, where it takes me back to how,
Exactly.
we've evolution, right? uh the social aspect is what differentiates us from animals, quite literally, right? It's the coming together and interacting, and that's how we've been able to increase our lifespan as well. So
I mean, I just imagine. This is mentioned in the book *Sapiens*. So, like, the number one reason that they gave for our dominance was because that we could communicate, and the first thing that the humans were doing when communicating was gossiping. Just imagine, like, our first ancestors, the Neanderthals, are just like, they're just gossiping. So I'm sorry if it's Neanderthals or Homo sapiens, I forgot, I read that
I
book a
think
long time ago.
Nian.
So no, yeah, I mean, yeah,
Anyway,
I I really
you
forgot
can
about
look
it.
it up. Yeah.
Yeah, you guys can look it up. But yeah, it was gossiping. So just imagine, like, the first words that are coming out of your mouth, the first thoughts that are coming, it's just gossiping. Now I don't know what sort of gossiping would happen at that time, but it was
Yeah.
definitely gossiping, is what's said in the book.
Yeah. And in this study they also like found out that the most, whenever you're in like proper physical pain, uh, that is perceived, social exclusion is perceived, and it has the same reaction, chemical reaction in your body that you face when in the face of any kind of physical pain. So they compare to social exclusion is
Wow.
compared to like genuinely your body feels physical pain. It has the same kind of reaction that it would have in the face of
Did they define
physical
social
pain.
exclusion like exactly what it meant?
Just not being able to have being excluded from social circles, or not having those
Mhm.
kind of friends and family, not getting enough attention from your family and friends. There was actually like there was other like there were different subjects in this, but like they also discovered that there was this one grandma or grandpa, and the only reason he or she stayed alive was that one of his or her uh, grandson or daughters would visit them
Yeah.
every single day, and that is the only thing that kept them alive. And I feel like although it's important to have these social relationships throughout your life, the importance of it really increases towards the end of your life, if that makes sense.
It makes
So,
sense, yeah, because I mean that's where you're most vulnerable again in your life. I mean, when
yeah,
you're born as a baby, you're the most vulnerable, and this is where your parents are taking care of you and providing you with nourishment and shelter. And
yeah,
as you grow old, you then again come to the same path where you are the most vulnerable in terms of physically, in terms of mentally, because I feel like there's another angle to this is that these things again, these grandparents example that you talked about, again, before even coming down to this point, these things are so abstract, so profound to talk about, but I am sure everyone knows what we're talking about. These feelings, these emotions, these ideas. There's not like a lot of research that you can do about this because, for example, what I've heard is, and what I've seen with some person examples is that if, for example, like you said, this grand old grandparent and grandfather and grandmother, right? What I've seen is sometimes that if both of them are living up to their ages, right, but if one of them passes, then sooner the other follows as well. So now that is a phenomena quite hard to explain, quite hard to grasp. Like they might just be doing well physically, but it's just that again, this exclusion, which if I were to frame it in another word, this absence now
yeah,
creates such a huge void, such a huge loss, that it doesn't give them the reason to live. So it's actually like, again, these relationships are actually providing reasons to live, because this is what these people are, like, again, like I said, everything in terms of working hard in your career, professionally, personally, etc., is all done for your family and friends. Is to provide for them, is to nourish them, is to help them succeed, is to set them up for success. And for them to see that they are doing good, like they are literally just sowing in seeds for growth, and for them to see that their seeds have now grown into beautiful strong trees, and like they are also bearing fruits, that just really makes them happy and adds. And not only that, because
quite
now,
literally, yeah,
yeah, future generations will also follow. So it's,
yeah,
you see, like the idea of family, the idea of these things is the creation of something that outlives you, that will basically be a part of your legacy. There aren't a lot of things that will be a part of your legacy. um, Hopefully this podcast is something that will outlive us. Maybe our children and their children can look at this, and
God
our
willing,
family
yeah,
members. Yeah. And it's a good way to journal, it's a good way to show, what we were thinking, what we were saying. But children, reproduction, this is a huge part of making something that will outlive you. And
for
people,
sure,
if were allowed, they would love to live, I mean, up to 200 years or even be immortal. But sadly, that's not how it is. So we
yeah,
live through our parents, and so on and so forth. The generation is that is the power of this legacy, that is the power
yeah.
of reproduction.
See, this idea of living, I don't think a person transcends uh, beyond their life. It's the energy, it's your energy will live beyond. If I instill a certain kind of energy in my son or daughter, and then they can go on and do something in life and expand and amplify and share that energy with others who can which is basically what we're doing right now, right? And it's energy is just energy. Nobody can take credit for it. It just comes and goes. It keeps flowing. You get it from somewhere, you give it, right? So it's not yours to hold on to. So your energy keeps on flowing, right? And that is what will keep on going. In terms of talking about longevity and how social inclusion, having those quality relationships with family and friends, kind of increases your lifespan. That's quantity based, right? So let's focus a bit more on quality of life now, because I've
Correct.
definitely seen, and I'm a first hand example of this, that even though you might have those things and you might live longer, right?
Yes.
But what is the quality of that life? And most often than not, it would be good, but it could not be good as well. Like, I personally have great relationships with my family, friends, and I'm truly privileged and grateful for it. And I'm sure you can say the same. And I know countless examples, countless people. They have money, every family, relationships, all the material things in world and everything,
But they're disconnected.
but they're disconnected, right? Their quality, they're not happy, they're not satisfied, their quality of life isn't what they would like it to be, and they then invest a lot of time and energy in pursuit of that, right? So I feel the key to everything you do in life is balance, right? Maintaining a certain kind of balance with everything you do in life. How much you sleep, how much you see your family and friends. It's good to have good relationships, but there's obviously a certain amount of time you should be spending with them as well. If that amount goes lower or higher, you don't see the same benefits, or in fact, the benefits, they're counterproductive, right? And this is very much prevalent in our society in Pakistan. And we growing up, we used to see our friends every day, which is not something people do in the West, right? Uh, anyway, coming back to that, balance is the key to everything. But I don't. Again, this a friend said this to me. Said what's I asked them what's the most important thing in life, and they said balance, and I kind of pondered upon this for a while, and I feel like balance is not something you can have ever. It's something you keep on chasing. It's an activity you trying to keep on balance out. Sometimes it'll be off. You can never have a fully balanced lifestyle, right? That means
That makes sense, yeah.
perfection. That means perfection, and perfection doesn't exist. It's something you keep on chasing and chasing and keep on improving, keep on learning what are the forces that are in play, and try to work your way with it. So, and that being said, I have another theory
Hmm.
that
Bring it
I
on.
look, everybody is, we're just an iteration, right? And with every breath that we take, every second that we live, every action that we take, every sense that is, uh, experimented with, I'm seeing, I'm looking, I'm breathing, I'm doing, we're iterating, reiterating again and again and again every second, right? No two moments are the same, no 2 days are the same, right? And this reiteration keeps happening every second, like I mentioned. But obviously, because it is an iteration, not an invention, it is based on the previous model. So how I was 5 seconds ago, this would be largely based on that, but a bit of difference, and that difference keeps on coming. So that reiteration keeps on happening. Now, it's most of the time it's subconscious, because most of the actions that we take are subconscious, and at times it's conscious, right? The actions that we take. So you are developing, like, regardless, that's inevitable. Now it's up to you if you're developing consciously or subconsciously, but you are developing, right? You keep
Correct.
reiterating, right? So with every small step that I have to take, it just comes down to that balance, right? Now I have simple, I have the option, should I go to sleep or should I stay up, right? Two options. It's binary, is what I'm trying to get to.
But
It's
stay up for
always,
what purpose?
whatever purpose.
Okay.
I'm saying every small thought that you choose to act on or not act on, uh, is binary. It's either or,
Yes.
right? Should I go to the gym or not go to the gym? Should I go to sleep or not go to sleep? Okay, if I then I've made that decision, okay, I'm not going to go to sleep. What should I do? Should I eat or should I watch TV? Okay, I've decided to watch TV. Okay, should I watch this show or this show? Right? Keeps on going. So what I'm trying to say is every decision, every action can be broken down in binary terms. Yes and no, right?
Correct.
Ones and zeros, which is what the computer language is,
Yes.
right? So every iteration, every second that you're developing, you can consciously choose that to be a one, as simple as that, positive, or a zero, negative, right?
Yes.
How profound is that?
No, that makes entirely like
I just
the
so
most simplest way. Yeah, because I mean, of course, there are whatever decisions you're making, there is always either or. There are there might be three, four decisions, but then a person is overcomplicating the situation. But usually, it's
no,
either
I'm
or.
sure there is
Yeah.
there is so many more factors in play and everything, but they can always be broken down into yes and no, right?
Yeah.
Like I
Yes. Correct.
explained, going to sleep? No. Staying up?
Not going to
Yes.
sleep. Yeah.
Okay.
You
Then
can't
what are
have
we?
in between.
It's all we generally these things happen so quick that we make four decisions at one time. I'm not gonna think, okay, I'm not gonna still sleep, so what I'm gonna do, I instantly decide, okay, let's watch this show. But this show, that show that I wanna watch, that has been a result of four or five decisions that I've made to get to that watching that show. And I'm doing
Correct.
and I'm avoiding certain things, which is maybe sleep or certain other things that I would have done to be doing what I'm doing, right? So what I'm trying
Mm.
to say is it all comes down to binary ones and zeros. All your decisions are ones and zeros, and
Absolutely.
you keep reiterating, right? You keep adding zeros and ones. So the more ones you add, the better your life is going to be, and the more zeros you add, the worse your life is going to be. As simple as that. If you were to put it in quantitative terms, in a mathematical equation, whatever, however you want to take it, the ability to uh, have that clarity of mind and see ones for ones and zeros for zeros, and the ability to make that right decision, and break it down and see for what it really, really is, comes from presence of mind.
Correct.
And that was my answer. The most important thing in my life for
Hmm.
myself is presence of mind. If I don't have that, sure, I might be somewhat investing in my health. Sure, I have good relationships and I'm maybe living, adding some sort of value in that, sort of have a decent career. And I sort of kind of like do things to grow. But in order to achieve greatness, in order to be great, right? I need to have this presence of mind, which will allow me to add more ones and less zeros. And the more ones you have, the more momentum you get to keep adding those ones, because it's a reiteration. Remember, it's not an invention. It's
Yes.
coming from a previous decision, right? So if you keep, it's like momentum. So if you keep adding ones, then you can truly be the best version of yourself. The quality love relationships you have, it's not limited to you having conversations with them. You can improve their life for the better, genuinely, introduce them to new things, try out new things together. It could come in different ways. I'm not saying I have that presence of mind now. I mean, it's something you keep chasing on, and it's not something you can ever have, something like balance. Uh, so,
But
but
no,
it's
I feel
worth
like
investing in it.
absolutely. I feel like first of all, the even if you've able to hack this, I've never heard an answer like this ever before. Usually, definitely, the answer that we got are the answers that majority of the population would say. But the fact that you've been able to hack this is phenomenal. Why I say this is because definitely, I guess what you've said and what I was trying to say at the beginning of this podcast is explained very well, because my reason for this answer was again the same thing that you said, which is presence of mind. Everything that I do for my family and friends, I mean, let's take for birthdays, for example, it's not something like, like very not thought of. It's quite thought of. It's understood. I take notes. I understand what the person likes. I aim to make sure I make their day, to make sure that I put a smile on their face and to inspire them as well. So I guess I do have that presence of mind. Now, thanks to you, I understood how I'm able to function. And I believe a lot of people who do this, we all have family and friends who, sometimes are just there, but some are just involved as well. I believe for the people who are involved, they have that presence of mind. They have that ability to understand those relationships, dissect, take notes, understand what makes a person tick, understand what makes a person happy, understand what makes a person sad, and then actively choose to make those decisions, like you said. Personally speaking, that is sort of a person that I am with my relationships as well. I try to understand and then take mental notes as well as physical notes as well, as to, for example, with you, I will take a note as to what, okay, Permeet likes this, Permeet doesn't like this. Okay, I try not to do that thing. I try not to repeat it. I usually say in my relationships that if there is anything that makes you upset or that makes you tick, tell it to me straight up. I'll make sure that thing never happens again. And so far, I have a clean record of it not having again. It can be a trivial thing. I mean,
Yeah.
I live with my
No,
family.
totally,
Sometimes,
totally.
sometimes they might just say, do not leave the dish over there. I'm like, okay, me leaving the dish over there might create some negativity, might create some zeros. So I'm not going to do that. So I'm going to go for that one, like you said, in that binary decision. I'm going to make sure that that is understood and that is done. So yes, having the presence of mind in your relationship will not only help it flourish, like you said, will also help you improve as well, will also help them improve as well, and will also add to the quality of relationship as well. Because you mentioned about balance, I believe exactly spending too much time as well with your family and friends, and then putting all of your baskets of your life in
Yeah,
the basket of
exactly.
family and friends can be counterproductive as well. However, if it is thought of properly, if there is some sort of, again, presence of mind put into it, it can be amazing. Plan a vacation with them, plan their birthdays, be there for their, like when they're not healthy, look after them for a while.
Yeah.
Or just, maybe it could be like a morning text, maybe it could be like just a call, just to check up on them. Maybe you heard that there was a disaster somewhere in their area, call up on them, or maybe even visit them, do a surprise. These things, then, because you are doing them with a thought behind, will add more quality to your relationships and will give you more purpose as well. Because now when you see the reaction, now when you see what their attitude was towards that particular action, and if it was a positive one, damn, that is rewarding. So I would like to add one more thing over here. We talk about love, and I see a lot of people talk about self love as well. And we talk a lot, like, I would say this word would be the most said word in the world, which is I love you. And I thought a lot about this. I thought that what is it in another person that we love? And honestly, I figured what I could figure and what I could like put my theory into it. It's like an incomplete theory. Was that we don't love the person. We don't like. There's. I don't like. Love is such an abstract thing. Like, you can't
Yeah.
put a finger on it. You just,
Yeah, you
even if
can't.
you feel, yeah, you can argue that you feel it. But however, what I think is that you love what you see in the person as a reflection of yourself.
I swear I had the same
Yeah,
answer.
as a reflection of yourself, as to how they make you feel, as to, again, the energy that they give to you as well.
Yeah.
That's for me,
It's
my
the
relationship.
comfort you find in those small connections,
Exactly,
like small things.
exactly.
It's how much comfort and
And it's the
you
same for
find.
them as well. It's not that
Yeah.
I'm thinking this way. It's like, if my friends love me, they like me, it's because what I am providing to them. If I stop providing those things to them, I am damn sure they will stop loving me.
Yeah. It's about how
It
you
is
make them feel.
absolutely, absolutely. So love is something that cannot be controlled. And Machiavelli talks about this. Nicholas Machiavelli. Sometimes we'll talk about him as well in another podcast.
Yeah.
He's one of my, like, a most. I seek his advice a lot in my daily life, and you know what he says? He says that love is something. He writes this book, Prince. Um, and he's addressing the prince, like the rulers, the kings, and the emperors at that time, right? And what he's telling to them is that do not control your people through love, control them by fear. So what I also understood from him is that love is very subjective. It goes around and around, and it can change with season and time as well. But it's actually like your actions, it's actually your output, actually your energy that keeps the relationship together, that keeps the bond together. And for me, that applies as well. When I do something for my friends, that makes me the most happiest. The reaction that I get, if I'm just able to put a smile on their face, that just, like, again, that drives me crazy, and that drives me to do more for them as well, even far better than what I did last time.
That's amazing, honestly. And love is so powerful. Even though they say that hates people can connect more over hate. So if I hate something and you hate something, we'll bond. I mean, I don't know, four times, three times more over something that we love, right? We'll have more talking
Wow,
points in
that is
our.
powerful.
Yeah. So hate is genuinely very. It spreads like wildfire. It spreads more than love does, right? But love is so powerful. The energy that it gives you is limitless, honestly. And if it weren't for that, uh, I mean, to a large extent, a lot of hate is prevalent in our society today, but it's not like love is non-existent. A lot of love is there as well, and had love had the same power and reach as hate, it would we would definitely see more of it. But coming back to that, having that presence of mind and everything, yeah, a lot of people say that family is important, but really ask them, question yourself, like, yeah, we understand family is important, but where is it coming from? Why is family important, right? And we put it down to that, having it adds to your life, it adds to your longevity, but just break it down where it's coming from. And for me personally, having that presence of mind genuinely allows me to be healthy, add more to my relationships, more to my career, more to myself, and keep on improving and growing. If tomorrow, I hope, hopefully, uh, not trying to sound corny here or something, if I do become something great, uh, I already feel great, to be honest. It's all about the mindset. But if I
Yeah,
do get to achieve something great, right? People around me are gonna reap the benefits of that, right? And be it in form of fame or energy or whatever it may be, right? Energy is the most contagious. So let's focus on that. In terms of energy, right? They will reap the benefits of that, and they will somewhat benefit from that, right, in the best way. And that's not coming from me giving them something. It's coming from me being a part of their life, but me being the best version of myself. And me being the best version of myself allows them to, you know let's say, for example, let's take Kobe Bryant. If he was just a normal person, his children, people around him would get that energy from him. But him being what he became, imagine the energy the people around him were receiving, right? And how
absolutely,
it impacted their lives. And
absolutely. I mean, this.
that
Yeah,
didn't
I
come
mean,
from
this is a.
directly the investor.
Yeah,
It came from him being the best version of himself, which comes from
exactly. Now
presence of mind.
his. Now let's continue with his example. So when I mean the greatest, like when he became such a great basketball player, right?
Goat.
So he had this. Yeah, he had
I
this
love it.
mentality of. Yeah, because he had this mentality of Mamba mentality, right? And now his children, he has two daughters, Natalia and another one, I forgot her name. So he now they had a team as well, like I think Little Mambas or something like that. I
Yeah.
forgot, but yeah, now there's a basketball team with those girls inside having the same mentality, and with him coaching. Before he passed away, may he rest in peace. But this is exactly what you are also talking about. For him to like achieve that greatness, to achieve that mentality, to achieve that experiences, like he talks about his wife as well. Like his wife was like a housewife, and like he even says that that is the hardest job in the world, because he was like on the road playing, being who he is, and back at home his wife is also like taking care of the children, making
Yeah.
sure that they're getting the right education, that they're staying on the right path. So like this is where family comes in. I'm sure, in fact, I think he mentions as well that that was a great part of his push as well. And because he achieved that, because he became that great, it's like what you said, that now his daughters were also reaping that benefit. Now we're not talking financial benefit, fame benefit, etc., but
Energy.
just, yeah, energy and that
Mindset.
mentality.
Yeah.
exactly that mentality, even just to be known as Kobe Bryant's daughter, like, like have, it's just, it's not only a huge
More than that, I feel
responsibility.
that's
Yeah,
external, right? Internally,
it's
like how they feel and their
internally
mindset.
they're inheriting that mindset. So I'm
Yeah.
sure if we even ask this question to him, he would respond back with that answer as well. And I feel like throughout this podcast, what I've understood is that with the data that we've seen as well, the answer is all the same. The answer is all the same. It happens, like whatever we're doing, whatever is pushing us, or whatever is driving us, leads down to this idea of relationships, leads down to, it's either or, before it's again the chicken or the egg. But our motivations, our drive is to
Yeah.
do it for that. Because just this, imagine, like you alone in this world, like you as a one singular person, with, like how they show it in the zombie apocalypse movies or the series, where only one person is existing and he has access to each and everything. I don't think that person has a lot to live for. I don't think, like, even if he had like robots or anything, but eventually he would crave that human feeling, eventually he would crave that relationship. So
Yeah.
I believe that at the end of the day, us being social animals, us being able to branch out and fan out our relationships, our bonds, is the biggest power that we have. And at least to
Agreed.
me, it's the most
Yeah.
important thing in
But
the
it's
world.
important to break it down and see how you can add to those
Yes,
relationships. And
definitely.
most times it's not directly, it's indirectly through investing in
Absolutely, yeah. Because
yourself
like
and
you
in your
said,
health.
yeah. Because look, it's again, these things are just so abstract. Like we've seen so many times. Again, we've seen tribes in Africa, like for example, and if there were a way to measure happiness, I believe, they would be the happiest, because we see them having a very basic, simple life, like living with their family, living with their children, spending time with their, they don't have to open up the laptop,
Ignorance is
right?
bliss.
Exactly, they don't have to open up the laptop, write 10 mails, or drive to their office to work. They're most of the time together with their family and friends. However, we see in the society that we live in, depression and anxiety and all of these negative emotions, they're quite prevalent. People crave vacations, they will take time out of their calendar before a year or year and a half, just to have like a vacation with their family. And even during that, they might just not be really into it. They might just be think, again, presence of mind, there's no presence of mind. They might be looking forward to another thing. So definitely having the presence of mind to make sure that each moment that you're spending, each conversation that you're having, each thing that you're doing has not like a meticulously thought of like a purpose, but has at least some sort of purpose, has at least some sort of idea, has at least some sort of um like a pleasant thing planned towards it.
Yeah.
So yes.
Exactly. Like think about it. If we are like if I go about it in the way that, yeah, okay, family and relationships are the most important thing in life, 24/7, that's what I'm focused on, I'm giving them time and attention and everything, that won't achieve anything. You need to come
Yes,
back to yourself to give, right? You need to go within
your
to
glass needs
go
to be
out.
full.
Yeah, you need to fill this own glass to then, give to others. You can't give from an empty glass, and we keep on saying that. So yeah, the objective here was to just, have a conversation here, get you guys, everybody who shared their answers. I just want to thank them. There was about 35 of our friends and our people from our family. So I just want to thank them for, being a part of this and giving their answers. The objectives was just for everyone that gave their answers and people watching as well, just to, have you uh, put you in a position where you can self-reflect more and ask these questions more. And
Exactly, because these people, they, even if they might have given this answer, it's not necessary that they are having that close bond with them right now.
exactly.
And this is why we post this question, for you to reflect, for you to have that presence of mind, to make sure that you also understand and reflect why, if for example X is important to you, whether it can be family or friend, why, what meaning do they hold, what evidence is there, is what sort of, like, when you meet them and when you're done meeting them, what sort of energy are you taking back home? Being like close to them, is it helping you grow, or is it regressive? These are the sort of things that you need to answer. And then after that, if you still feel that there is room for growth, that there is room for, like this relationship to evolve even further, then there are so many things that you can do. Be there in their happiness, be there to
Exactly.
lend them a hand, give them a shoulder. Even these basic things, when you do for
Be
them,
equipped to give. If you're like,
absolutely.
again, glass is empty, you can't give from an empty glass. And it can go, we've discovered the positive side of it and how you can invest in yourself and just give to those relationships and they can benefit for it. But there's an adverse opposite side to it, which is negative, right? If you don't do these things, if you fall into depression, if you don't invest time in yourself, if you go down the path of being a druggie or whatever it may be, right? I'm not trying to
Yes.
put it in a box, but then that is the energy that they're getting, and that would have that kind of effect on them, which is negative. And so it can go either way. So just have that presence of mind and clarity as to how you're contributing, and and where that contribution is originating from, right? So
I
yeah,
think you've summed it up very, very properly. And I feel like this is a topic that we can
we
even
can keep
discuss
on
with
going.
other.
Yeah,
Yeah, we can keep on
yeah,
going. There's a lot of things that we touched upon. Relationships is one thing, love is one thing, hate is one thing. These are things which philosophers talk about a lot, and there's a lot to add to this. But the basic idea, I feel like you've mentioned, is balance is key. Keep your glass full, and then choose to invest in those relationships and see and reflect why.
yeah, and break it down. So I think that this was amazing. My heart is full as well. It gave me a lot of insight.
Actually,
I
I
feel
feel like
grounded.
these,
Yeah,
yeah, and I feel like these topics, they come with a certain responsibility. These topics are actually, especially this one, these are a little hard to talk about. These are a little hard to explain. But I
yeah,
love the challenge. I believe we did a decent job in trying to
yeah,
break things down. And I think I'm gonna take this up personally as well and see what
yeah.
the Stoics also say about this.
Yeah, yeah. No, I definitely agree, and it was amazing. Uh, Again, conversation. The more we can talk about these things, the more we can learn, the more we can attract the right kind of energy, and that's all this podcast is about as well.
Yes, sir.
Just want to thank everyone for being a part of this and watching this till the end. Please support us in any way you can. We really appreciate it. And yeah, we hope to bring you more and more of this stuff and talk more and more about this. So thank you again, and we will see you next Sunday.
Ciao, guys. Take care.